This is a lecture from Open Tuition. To benefit from the lecture, you should download the free lecture notes from opentuition.com.
So, having gone through and looked at an operating lease and how to look at it for lessor accounting, we're now going to go through there and look at it for finance leases. So remember, with a finance lease, the scenario that we have identified is that the risks and rewards have transferred from the lessor to the lessee. And if that's the case, we no longer have those risks and rewards. So therefore, in substance, it's effectively no longer our asset. So when we're looking at the accounting here, there's some what look like reasonably straightforward steps to follow. We all like steps, don't we? Okay, a systematic method to approach things, but some of the calculations can be quite complex. Okay, and some of the understanding behind it can be quite challenging too. Okay, so what we've got to do first of all is we need to remove the asset. If the asset in substance now belongs to the lessee under a finance lease, we need to remove the asset. At the same time, we then need to record a receivable. The issue that we have is at what value do we record the receivable? Okay, well, what we've got there is we are going to record it at what is referred to as the net investment in the lease. Okay, what do we mean by the net investment in the lease? Okay, well, by thinking about it net, we're talking about things in today's terms. Okay, net, if you like, after any discounting. So the receivable needs to be worth what we receive in the future. So looking at the lease payments. Okay, but by looking at it net, we're looking at it in present value terms, and effectively that's what it says there in the standard. The net investment in the lease is the gross investment, so your undiscounted lease receipts, discounted at the implicit rate of interest. However, we just need to be very, very careful when we're looking at this gross investment in the lease, because yes, it is just your minimum lease payments that are going to be received, and this is important. We then need to add on any unguaranteed residual value. Okay, what's that about? Okay, well, when the lessor sets up the lease, they should go through there and ensure that the payments that the lessee makes to them ensures that it covers the value of the asset at the end of the lease period. Okay, so effectively within those lease payments, they are guaranteeing the residual value. Okay, so even if the asset comes back damaged and broken, the lessee has already paid for that value. Okay, so that will already be factored into the lease payments. However, the asset is not necessarily just going to be worth the guaranteed residual value. There will be maybe another bit of the lease whereby the lessee does not pay the lessor, and therefore there is some unpaid worth within that asset. Okay, so we as the lessor are just taking on board the fact that, well, you know, it might come back, it might be broken, but that, you know, we can't charge all of it to the lessor. You know, some of it might just, can't charge all of it to the lessee. You know, some of it might just be due to general wear and tear of the asset. Okay, so that's effectively the unguaranteed residual value. But we need to include that within the investment in the lease, because the investment in the lease is effectively the investment in the asset, isn't it? Okay, yeah, so that value, what that asset is worth today. Okay, so we need to work out the gross investment as the minimum lease payment plus any unguaranteed residual value. If you want to put numbers on it, if the residual value was 1,000, if there was 800 that was guaranteed, the 200 would be the unguaranteed amount. It's as simple as that. The difference between the full residual value and what is guaranteed is the unguaranteed amount. Okay. Once we've done that, we can then go through that. record the lease receipt, so debit the bank, credit the receivable, and then as well, don't forget that we also need to charge interest, and that will be interest income, won't it? Whereby you debit the receivable as you accrue the interest due to you as part of the payments received, and then you will go through there and credit your interest income. Okay, it's a challenge. Don't get too het up with it. Let's just focus if we can on the basics. So what have we got? It says that calculate Cherry's net investment in the lease. So when we're working out the net investment in the lease, that looks at the gross investment discounted at the required rate of return, or if you like, the rate implicit in the lease, isn't it? And to do that, we need to look at the lease payments plus any unguaranteed residual value. So here it wants us to show the guaranteed amounts and also the unguaranteed amounts. Okay, so what have we got? It says Cherry leases out an item of property, plant and equipment under a 5-year finance lease. So it's telling us it is a finance lease. The lease commenced on the 1st of January 2015 and the rate implicit is 4%. So 4% is what we will do our discounting back to present value. The lease rentals are $5,000, and it's then very important to understand for discounting purposes, they are paid at the start of the lease period. So if that is the case, we're going through there, aren't we, and looking at the income being received in year or T0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that covers those 5 payments. It then says Cherry estimates that the estimated residual value of the equipment is $2,000. The guaranteed amount is it as $1,600. So therefore the unguaranteed amount is the $2,000 less the $1,600, which is the $400. Okay, if that's the case, that is the unguaranteed residual value, which will form part of the net investment in the lease. The guaranteed residual amount will be factored in to the fact that we are paying the $5,000 lease rental payments every single year. Okay. So how do we work out the net investment in the lease? Okay, well, what we can go through and do there is we can work out the gross investment as well. So the gross investment is that there is it 5 years of 5,000 plus is it the unguaranteed amount. Does that go through there and give me, is it $25,400? Okay. The net investment in the lease is just a little bit more of a challenge. Okay. If you were given the tables, what you could do is you could say that if you take an annuity factor, is it from 0 to 4, is it 4%, multiply that by the 5,000, to which you can then add on, is it a discount factor at T4, careful, it's at the end of the lease, isn't it? That's the challenge. Careful, Christopher. At T5, okay, because it's a 5-year lease, multiplied by, is it the 400? Okay, again, if you were really clever, an annuity factor of 0 to 4 is 1 plus an annuity factor of 1 to 4. Okay. Too complicated. The best way to do it is to go through and do it as we have done in the answer. Go through there, look at the year, look at your cash flow, forget about your annuity factors, use your discount factor at 4% to then work out, is it the present value? Okay, our years are T0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think by doing this, you're less likely to make any mistakes because you've got 5 payments, or I should say 5 receipts. Makes no difference. Is it there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've missed one out in the middle there, haven't I? Just see it. There we go. And then in year 5, you've got, is it 400? Okay, excellent. Let me just move that one down a little bit. Oh, careful, wrong button. Let's just move that down a fraction. Let's move that up a fraction. There we go. That looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Okay. You've then got your discount factor. So your discount factor at T0 is 1. Okay, whatever the percentage may be. So is that there as 5,000? In the exam, you would be given discount factors. Okay. You've never been expected to do any calculation of discount factors in any P2 exam. I think that's ridiculous. You should have to do it, but there we go. So let's just say they're given to you in the exam. Is it at 0.962? Is it 0.925? 0.889? 0.855? And is it 0.822? To work out the present value, it's your cash flow multiplied by your discount factor. So again, is that 4810? Is that 4625? Is that 4445? 4275? And 329. Okay, when you total that up, gives you 23484. Okay, the 23484 is the net investment in the lease. Okay, so 23484. Okay, and it is at that value that you would record the receivable. Okay, you will go through that, credit the asset at its value within the financial statement, debit, is it the receivable, any difference if you were to have it, we will just take there through profit or loss. Okay, excellent. There you have it. I don't think you get much more than that in terms of the discounting. The subsequent accounting treatment, you might have to deal with that in the exam, but I'm not too worried about that at this point in time. Okay, I just want to make sure there that you are happy going through there and understanding the difference between the gross investment and the net investment. Okay, so the gross investment is the minimum lease payments plus the unguaranteed residual value, which is there. Was that, did we say, at 400? But then to work out the net investment, that's when you need to take account of the discounting. Okay, what we've put there is the fancy way of doing it if you love your financial management. Alternatively, if you prefer just to go through it and look at it in its most simple fashion, list out the table with the year, the cash flow, the discount factor, and the present value. If you're interested and want to try and remember how to work out your discount factor, it's 1 over 1 plus your discount rate to the power of n, whereby, remember here, r is 4%, so that would be 0.04, and then n are the years 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, excellent.